So, that's the drill. God bless. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. As you saw from the rather dramatic opening, I'll just show it to you again. A couple of months ago I asked what all these designs in this coffee mug were, and now I see it's the 20-volt thing, and it's all in this. It's all in this, and this represents our topic this week, which is an update on all the issues of buildings renewal, building renovations. So that's what I'm going to be filling you in on today. But first, I have to take a sip of coffee. I think it's important for all of us to be updated on how things are moving along. This whole reality, this whole dimension of our parish life is slow moving, but it's very much necessary. We are stewards of what's been given us by our spiritual ancestors, and so we have to be sure that we pass on to our descendants, our spiritual descendants, those who are going to come after us, and take good care of what's been placed into our hands, and to maximize its use and for the kingdom of God, to advance the kingdom of God. That's what we're trying to do, and on a very practical scale, in a very practical sense, rather, you need to have updates because they're going to actually affect us week to week. So the first update has to do with the apartment building that's going to be built literally outside our front door here on the corner lot. We had expected, and I think the owners of the apartment building had expected to have started a long time ago. In fact, they had arranged to rent a portion of our parking space for the month of April, and April is almost finished and nothing has been put up. So we heard from them recently that there were some issues around planning, permissions, and funding. You know, the usual things that will hold up building projects. But sure enough, this will eventually go ahead. So at some point in the next month or two, we're going to see a portion of the front of our parking lot closed off. There's going to be fencing put up, and again, just to remind you that we have neighbors. They're going to be building, and as long as that building process is underway, it's going to be an inconvenience to us. So, from a purely selfish point of view, it's good for us to help them do what they need to do as quickly as possible. And allowing them to use a portion of our property does that. And also, long-term, it's good to be good neighbors. So that's what we're doing, why we're doing that. And again, it's going to be a bit of an inconvenience, but it's really going to be the first of what lies ahead of us for many, many years to come. So it's good for us to get used to it. The second thing is that as I speak, work is underway to demolish the Creighton Center. Now that's the old school, so the old gray building behind what is now Churchill Academy. It used to be St. Peter's School, so it's the higher building. It used to have the theater in it. That building has been empty for I think almost 2 years, I think, and we've been using it for storage. It's been unheated. Essential services were cut off a number of years ago. Anyway, it's in the process of being demolished right now. There is a company that is doing the internal work, and that is dealing with asbestos and lead pipes and all of the things that are hazardous. So that's going to take about 8 weeks of work to clean out all the hazardous materials before they move to the second phase, which is to take the building down with the proper permissions, and the third phase, which is to turn that building into parking spaces, much needed parking spaces. However, before we get the relief of extra parking spaces, or rather parking spaces to substitute for the ones that were lost from out front, that whole area, while they're dealing with hazardous materials, is going to be sealed off to cars. So we're actually going to already lose some parking spaces, which I know is a challenge because our numbers continue to go up on Sundays. So we just please be patient with one another. So that's the second thing. The third thing is this building that we're in. Many of you know that we had gone through a long process of discernment and planning and consultation with parishioners and with an architectural firm. We shared with you about 6 months ago the concept, the visuals of that concept, which are very visually stunning and beautiful and very dreamlike. And indeed, it's a dream. We begin with a dream. Then we had to go through a process of saying, okay, how much would this actually cost, roughly? And we worked with a number of different companies to get approximate costs. And when you build in all of the safeguards that you need for, surprises and et cetera, it's, as will come to no surprise to many of you, an expensive proposition. So we're at a phase now, we got the green light from the Archdiocese to move to the planning phase. And where we are right now is that we've made requests for proposals from different engineering and architectural firms to bid for the actual planning. People looked at some of the conceptual work that we had done and said, "Oh, these are great plans." Well, technically, they're not plans. They're the sketching out of an idea. We need to move to plans, and so right now, that's what we're doing. We're looking at several different companies and inviting them to make a bid, which would mean that they would give not just a quote on the cost of this. They would also give us a sense of how they would approach it, and there are certain different factors that are used to discern what company we would go with. And I just want you to know as well that part of our messaging to these companies is that the present concept is a bit on the outer limit of affordability, because one of the things, of course, we don't want to do is go through this and be burdened with a debt that can't be managed, of course. So it may necessitate an adjustment or some changes on that design. So that's where that's at, and we hope to, by the end of July, to have discerned and awarded a contract to have the renovation of this space designed. And finally, the fourth thing, it goes to our other location, the St. Anthony's location. And once again, if you're a parishioner here at Our Lady of Guadalupe and all you are familiar with is this location, I really encourage you to go and visit the St. Anthony's location at some point. We have weekday mass there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's a lot of activity that happens there on Thursdays with the food bank and other ministries. We have completed the installation of heat pumps in the church. We had, that this will reduce the cost of heating, and also we had problems with mold during the summer months. This will solve those problems. And the other thing we're moving to now is doing a bit of a renovation in the chapel space. We received some funds this past year to do that, to beautify the space, make it more, since we closed the dividers in that space, to make the size of the sanctuary more proportional to it being a chapel. Right now we can at most get 50, 60 people in there. We want to be able to increase so we can maybe get a few more. So that's a little update and some of the concrete things, pardon the pun, that are going to be done in our parish, whether it's the building project here or the demolition of the Creighton Centre or the work here or the work at St. Anthony's. So that's the drill. God bless.